There is a story. It's not just any story. It's the biggest and best story of all time. It's God's big story, and not only is it 100% true, but you get to be a part of it. Now, you may think the Bible is full of stories that don't connect, but actually, every verse in the Bible fits together to tell one big story of an amazing God. And because it's God's story, well, it all starts with Him. Long before there was anything, there was God, perfect and full of love. And He wanted to share that love, so He created the universe, including the earth and everything in it. He created the perfect world. He created Adam and Eve and would be their friend, their king, and their dad. Everything was perfect for a while. God's enemy, Satan, made his way into Adam and Eve's perfect world. He convinced them to ignore God and do things their own way. Well, this big mistake brought sin into the world, and sin ruined their perfect friendship with their perfect God. But just when it seemed that all hope was lost, God appeared to an old man named Abraham and made him an even bigger promise. He told Abraham that He would give him so many kids that one day they would turn into a mighty nation. God's promise became true, and Abraham's kids and grandkids became the people of Israel, and God Himself was their king. But after a while, they became jealous of other nations with human kings. God warned them that this would be trouble, but eventually He gave them what they wanted. Kings like Saul and David and Solomon. Now, some of them were good, but most of them were royal pains. Once again, people were missing out on the good things God had planned for them. So, just like any loving dad would do, God put His people in timeout. He let their enemies take them away as slaves. Daniel, Queen Esther, and Mordecai were among those who faithfully followed God even in this new land. Now, eventually, their timeout was over, and God brought them back to Jerusalem to prepare them for something they'd never expect. God knew that His people needed a hero, someone to rescue them. This hero was God Himself. He was born as a baby, lived a perfect life, and did amazing things like healing people, walking on water, and bringing dead people back to life. He was 100% God, but He was also 100% human. His name was Jesus. He taught people about God's love and grace. And eventually, He let people put Him to death on a cross to restore our perfect friendship with God. Because Jesus died for us, we can be forgiven and free to live as His forever friends. But the story didn't stop there. 3 days later, Jesus, the heroic rescuer, walked out of His tomb and later returned to heaven. But He didn't leave His friends alone. Jesus gave them His Holy Spirit, His power in them to help them become like Jesus and change the world. So they did. Men like Peter and John told everyone they met about Jesus, began the adventure of changing the world. And that's where you come in. When you begin to follow Jesus, you become a part of His family and His big story. You get to become a world changer and tell others about Jesus' heroic rescue and His perfect promises. You see, Jesus is coming back again. Well, nobody knows when, but when He returns, the world will finally be made perfect again, and we will live happily ever after with Him. Perfect world, big mistake, bigger promise, royal pains, time out, heroic rescue, world changers, and happily ever after. That's God's big story. And you know what? This epic story can become your story because of your friendship with Jesus. It's your turn to join the adventure and live it out every day. Have fun, world changers.